Uruapan, Michoacan, a city of culture, color, and constant danger. On November 1, 2025, during the Day of the Dead festival, gunfire shattered the night. The target wasn't a cartel boss, it was the mayor himself, Carlos Manzo Rodríguez. Manzo's assassination sent shockwaves through Mexico. He was young, defiant, and determined to take back his city from organized crime. But in a land where corruption and fear run deep, his fight came at a deadly cost. Carlos Alberto Manzo Rodríguez was born on May 9, 1985, in the bustling city of Uruapan, in the Mexican state of Michoacan, a region long scarred by cartel wars and poverty. He studied political science and public administration at Atiso, a Jesuit university in Guadalajara, known for shaping reformist thinkers. Friends recall him as analytical, ambitious, and impatient with Mexico's endless cycle of corruption. He always talked about fairness, recalls a former classmate. He believed politics should protect, not exploit. Manzo entered public service quietly, first as an auditor for the Mexican Social Security Institute, learning the machinery of bureaucracy from the inside. By 2021, he was elected federal deputy for Michoacan's 9th district under the ruling party, Morena. In Congress, he pushed transparency measures and spoke against what he called the normalization of criminal control in local life. But Manzo soon became disillusioned. By 2024, he broke away from party lines, choosing to run for mayor of Uruapan as an independent, promising a clean, uncompromised government. "If the parties won't clean our city, we will," he said in his campaign speech 2024. In September 2024, Carlos Manzo was sworn in as Uruapan's first independent mayor, a political outsider promising real change in one of Mexico's most dangerous cities. Within weeks, he was calling out cartels by name, a rare and risky move for any local politician. He demanded federal help, armored patrols, and direct action against criminal networks. "There can be no hugs for killers," Manzo declared, rebuking Mexico's controversial abrazos no balazos policy, no more embraces, only justice. Michoacan is ground zero in Mexico's cartel conflict. Uruapan sits at the heart of lucrative trade routes, for avocados, timber, and drugs. Rival factions, the Jalisco New Generation cartel and local groups, battle openly for control. In this chaos, mayors become targets. Many before Manzo had been silenced. Dozens of officials, police chiefs, and journalists have been murdered across Michoacan. Under constant threat, Manzo ordered extra patrols, activated emergency codes, and placed the city under semi-lockdown during cartel crackdowns. His requests for more federal troops were partly answered, but it was never enough. "I don't want to be another mayor on a list of the dead," he said on May 2025. Despite the odds, Manzo achieved visible change. He tightened coordination between local and federal forces, secured National Guard deployment, and temporarily reduced kidnappings and extortion reports in early 2025. He canceled public festivals when threats increased, unpopular but effective at preventing mass casualty attacks. He also exposed corruption inside city offices, dismissing officials accused of collusion with cartels. But his hardline tactics drew controversy. Human rights advocates warned that his authorization for police to use lethal force risked abuse. Yet to many citizens, Manzo was the first mayor who dared to stand up. On November 1, 2025, the city prepared for its Day of the Dead celebrations, a night when candles, music, and remembrance fill the streets. Manzo attended one of the public events, despite warnings from his security detail. He was surrounded by families, police, and city staff when a lone gunman emerged from the crowd and fired 7 shots. The mayor was hit multiple times. Paramedics rushed him to a local hospital, but he died before midnight. Uruapan under fire, the cartel behind the mayor's death. Among the many forces vying for power here, one name stands above the rest. The Cartel de Jalisco Nueva Generación, or CJNG. Led by the elusive Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, El Mencho. CJNG transformed from a regional outfit into a paramilitary empire, spreading across western Mexico with money, fear, and firepower. CJNG's interest in Michoacan is simple: territory. Control the roads, the ports, and the profitable, green gold, avocados. Every mayor, every police chief, becomes either a partner, or a problem. Carlos Manzo Rodríguez, a 40-year-old reformist mayor, refused to become either. Elected in 2024, he demanded federal reinforcements, exposed local corruption, and spoke openly against cartel rule. He warned that standing up to organized crime could cost him his life. Intelligence reports had already placed CJNG cells operating around Uruapan, extorting transport routes and infiltrating municipal police ranks. By mid-2025, the cartel's presence was visible: roadblocks, burned vehicles, and warning banners signed with their initials. On November 1, 2025, the Day of the Dead, as families filled the streets with marigolds and candles, gunfire shattered the celebration. Carlos Manzo was hit 7 times. The shooter escaped into the crowd. Investigators believe the order came from CJNG-linked operators, seeking to reassert dominance in the region. After Manzo's push to purge compromised officers and disrupt their finances, the killing followed the same pattern seen in other CJNG territories. Swift, public, symbolic. His death wasn't random, it was a message. No mayor, no government post, stands above the cartel's reach. In Uruapan, the line between politics and organized crime has blurred, and the name CJNG still echoes through the streets he tried to reclaim. The city awoke in mourning. Hundreds marched dressed in black, chanting "Justice for Carlos Manzo." Federal agents flooded Uruapan. Investigators traced the murder weapon to cartel factions already linked to recent violence. President Claudia Sheinbaum pledged a full investigation, while security officials admitted Manzo had been under federal protection, a protection that failed. They killed him, taking advantage of a public event. "We will not let it go unpunished," Interior Secretary Harfuch said. Carlos Manzo Rodríguez was just 40 years old. He was a husband, a father of 2, and a symbol of defiance in a land where fear governs too many towns. His murder revealed the fragility of local power in Michoacan, and the bravery it takes to challenge it. He didn't survive long enough to transform Uruapan, but he compelled Mexico to reassess what it means to govern under threat. "Justice will come someday," one resident said during his funeral. But so will another Carlos Manzo. Someone has to try again. In a country where truth often dies with those who speak it, Carlos Manzo's story remains both a warning and a call to courage. Dedicated to the memory of Carlos Alberto Manzo Rodríguez, 1985 to 2025. And to the hundreds of local leaders in Mexico who risked their lives for justice.